subbing for Paul McMahon.
5 cars will transfer directly to the A main from this Southwest Express Line heat race. All-Star sprint car restarts occur at the cone on the front straight. Busch Schroeder jumps on the hammer, and we're racing again with Jim Neer posing a challenge to the bottom. Almost side by side, but Schroeder's momentum carries him around for a couple of car length advantage. Again, 5 cars will transfer, and we're halfway through this one with Rocky Hodges riding in that fifth spot. Side by side racing now for third. Donnie Gayton and Kenny Jacobs, the mouse to the outside in car number 6. He can't get it done that time. He remains in the 4th spot. Jacobs using the high side of the Muskingum County Speedway. Donnie Gayton down low. And this time they will be almost side by side in turn number 2, but Gayton pulls it out again. Rocky Hodges now feeling some pressure for the 5th and final transfer spot. Rusty McClure in car number 59 is his nemesis right now as side by side racing continues for 3rd. Kenny Jacobs in the 6th now, side by side down the back straight. He's got a car length advantage on Gayton as the white flag waves for Busch Schroeder. Jim Neer now fighting for 2nd as Kenny Jacobs is the man on the move. Hodges is now stretched out in his lead of the 5th position over McClure and should transfer as the checkered flag comes out now for the 17 of Busch Schroeder. 2nd place will be Jim Neer by half a car length over a charging Kenny Jacobs in car 6. Donnie Gayton in the 4th spot and 5th and final transfer position for the Rocket Rocky Hodges. 5th and final transfer spot to the 88 of Rocky Hodges. 4th place finisher, the 27G of Donnie Gayton. Then it will be the 6th car of Kenny Jacobs, who might have been the fastest car on the racetrack through that heat event. 2nd place finisher, the 00 of Jim Neer. And the winner of the Southwest Express Line heat race from Leipzig, Ohio, Busch Schroeder in car 17. Inside row number 2, the California invader, Jason Statler in the 00 machine. Outside of him will be the 5 of Byron Reed from Monclova, Ohio. 23S of Frankie Kerr starts from the 5th spot, and outside of him, Ed Lynch Jr. in the 2L. Then the 22 of Tony Brockton, and outside of him, Jonathan Stevens in 4J. 72 is Eric Heisong, 50X is Jim Damon. Remember, top 5 advance to the A main. Tim Allison in the 11 and Rodney Duncan in the 22 lead them to the white chalk line, and we're racing. Rodney Duncan gets the jump from the high side. Tim Allison down to the bottom, attempts the slide job, but Duncan goes around him for the lead. Byron Reed now shooting to the inside of car number 11 as Ed Lynch Jr. is off the back straight and airborne. Lynch back on the speedway, but losing positions after that lead back to the back straight. 3 wide now, the battle. Tim Allison now right on the Nerf bar of Frankie Kerr. That's the battle for the 4th position as Jason Statler drove around both of those cars. They were side by side momentarily, and now Frankie Kerr is going to pull up again to Jason Statler. Frankie Kerr to the high side of California's Jason Statler. He can't get it done that time, but Kerr seems to be one of the faster cars on the racetrack. Rodney Duncan, your leader, Byron Reed in 2nd, and the battle for 3rd right now, Statler and Kerr. Frankie Kerr up to the cushions through the loose stuff, and he's going to rock it back down to the bottom. Statler was a little slow coming out of turn 2, and Frankie Kerr dives to the inside now in turn 3, halfway through this event. Halfway home, and Kerr is still riding in the 4th spot. Final transfer position is currently held by Ed Lynch Jr. Rodney Duncan with half a straightaway lead now over Byron Reed in the 5 car. Frankie Kerr and Jason Statler, the best battle on the racetrack for the 3rd position. Statler in the 00, the wingless specialist from the West Coast, makes the trek to the east this week for Speedweek, and Ed Lynch Jr. starts past Frankie Kerr in turns 1 and 2. The 2L machine on the move now after a 3rd place finish last night. Tony Brockton has stopped the top turn. 22 has stopped. Caution on the negative banking side of turn number 1. Tony Brockton in car. Frankie Kerr returns to the 4th spot after being passed by Ed Lynch because we've gone back 1 lap, and the green flag comes out at the cone. We're racing. Rodney Duncan stretches out to a comfortable advantage again over Byron Reed by 3 or 4 car lengths on the opening lap, while Frankie Kerr has come back to life and taken the 3rd spot from Statler. Kerr was in jeopardy of losing positions under the last green flag lap, but he has moved up to 3rd now with the white flag waving for Rodney Duncan. Battle is now for fourth with Ed Lynch Jr. to the low side and passing Jason Statler. Checkered flag in the air for Rodney Duncan in the Harrison Trucking 22. Ahead of Byron Reed, Frankie Kerr, Ed Lynch Jr. and Jason Statler with the final transfer position ahead of pole sitter Tim Allison. Fifth and final transfer spot going to the 00 of California's Jason Statler. Fourth place finisher, Ed Lynch Jr. of Apollo, Pennsylvania. Coming home in the third spot, the 23S of Frankie Kerr, who came back to life on that last green flag dash. Byron Reed in the 5-car finishes second, and the winner of the Southwest Glass Heat Race driving the Harrison Trucking number 22, Rodney Duncan. Next time around, the United Specialties Heat Race will be underway. Pole sitter from Fremont, Ohio in car 15 is Chad Kemenaugh. Outside of him, Jared Hall, the Missouri driver, in car number 51. Inside of row number 2, Indiana's Danny Smith in the Ashworth 92. And outside of him, the Holbrook 8 of Dean Jacobs, second in the point standings. The 48 is James Fisher, and outside of him, the X of Mark Keegan. 21 car, driven by Todd Kelly, and the 47 is Marty Ling. The 1 is Keith Baxter, the 41 is Randy Fink, and we're underway. Chad Kemenaugh, car number 15, the early leader with Danny Smith to the inside. And just like a bullet, Dean Jacobs is around the top of Jared Hall, currently running in the third spot. Jacobs in the 8 car, challenging Danny Smith already for second as they head to turn number 1. Dean Jacobs has found the way around the top side and gaining ground on the lead battle, but he slips a little bit there in turn 2, while Danny Smith finds an opportunity to battle Kemenaugh for the lead. The 92 of Danny Smith to the inside of Chad Kemenaugh. Smith takes over the lead with Kemenaugh switching to the bottom lane in the UUI 15 car. Kemenaugh and Smith in a great battle for first. Dean Jacobs holds off Jared Hall in third. Kemenaugh will be scored the leader this time by car number 15, the Fremont, Ohio driver. And a battle develops for second spot while Kemenaugh gets high and lets Smith reel him back in. Outstanding 3-car all-star sprint car racing in the United Specialties Heat Race. Halfway through it, Kemenaugh's the leader that time. Chad Kemenaugh, the young driver who's picked up championships in the Ohio State tracks of Attica, Buckeye, many-time feature winner, but has yet to visit victory lane with the All-Stars. Danny Smith, the veteran outlaw and all-star racer, holds down second. Dean Jacobs in third spot now. Jared Hall in fourth, and Mark Keegan and James Fisher side by side in the battle for that final transfer spot. 2 laps to go will be the signal to Chad Kemenaugh this time as Dean Jacobs finally put the challenge on Smith. He challenged him earlier in the event and then faded. Dean Jacobs has got the high side of the Muskingum County Speedway figured out, but it may not be enough to move into second as James Fisher spins in turn 2. Turn number 2, James Fisher. Caution flag coming out. Fisher was battling with Keegan for the final transfer spot, and the 48 machine comes to a stop after a spin in turn number 2. Chad Kemenaugh, your leader. Danny Smith in second. And at the cone on the front straight, single file racing begins. All all-star sprint car restarts occur at the cone single file. Significant penalty for hitting the cone. And Chad Kemenaugh takes a several car length lead over Danny Smith, who feels the pressure from Dean Jacobs. Jacobs in the 8 car challenges to the bottom. Final lap for Chad Kemenaugh. This young driver will be in the All-Stars victory lane at some point in his career, but right now we're watching Danny Smith go off the back straight and lose 2 positions as the checkered flag waves for Chad Kemenaugh. Second will be Dean Jacobs, Jared Hall in third, Danny Smith in fourth, and Mark Keegan, the 5th and final transfer spot for Racer X. Fifth and final transfer spot goes to the X car of Mark Keegan. Coming home in the 4th position, it's the 92 of Danny Smith after that last lap miscue. Finishing in third, the 51 of Jared Hall. Second place finisher, the 8 of Dean Jacobs. And the winner of the United Specialties Heat event from Fremont, Ohio, Chad Kemenaugh in car 15. And this time down the back straightaway, The Chevrolet Pace Truck will pull to the infield and will be set to go commercial truck and trailer dash racing. Joey Saldana, the pole sitter. Outside of him, the mouse, Kenny Jacobs from Holmesville, Ohio. Ed Lynch Jr. inside of row 2. Mark Keegan to the outside. Inside of row number 3, the 27 of Donnie Gaden, and outside Frankie Kerr. The 6 cars to battle for the commercial truck and trailer dash points toward the $15,000 pot of gold at the end of the season. Green flag comes out. Kenny Jacobs, your early leader, into turn number 1. Saldana battles back to the inside, and they're going to be side by side down the back straight, but we've got a caution flag. No start that time. The start being waved off, and we're going to try it one more time. Double file, complete restart. Row 3, Gaden and Kerr headed for the chalk line outside of turn number 4, where the green flag will wave for the commercial truck and trailer dash. This time we've got to start even at the line. Into turn number 1, again Jacobs to the high side and Saldana battling back low. Saldana takes the lead and Lynch is coming on strong. Ed Lynch Jr. almost made a challenge for the second position, but now he fades as Kenny Jacobs rockets to the outside of Saldana. The mouse to the high side in car number 6. All-time leading winner in the All-Star Circuit of Champions, Kenny Jacobs fighting for the lead and the commercial truck and trailer dash points. Saldana a little slow out of 4 that time, and Jacobs has the lead. Outstanding lead battle in the commercial truck and trailer dash. Kenny Jacobs almost off the racetrack. Saldana back out in front down into turn number 3. Saldana to the low side as the white flag waves. Ed Lynch Jr. in 3rd, Kerr in 4th. All-Star Circuit of Champions lead battle on the back straight. This is what makes this series so great. Joey Saldana and Kenny Jacobs battle to the checker. It's going to be the fastest qualifier of the night. Joey Saldana winning this one ahead of Kenny Jacobs, Ed Lynch Jr., Frankie Kerr, Donnie Gaten, and Mark Keegan coming home in the 6th spot for the commercial truck and trailer dash. Joey Saldana celebrates his commercial truck and trailer dash win in victory lane. And we'll be set to bring you the 15-lap All-Star Sprint Car B main event. United Express Line sponsored B main set to go next. Kelly inside of row number 5, the 18 of Brian Carlson. And outside of him, the 14C of Canadian Jim Carter. The 11N is steered by Ed Neumeister, and outside of him will be the 4J of Jonathan Stevens. The 72 car is driven by Eric Heisong, and outside of him, the 47 of Marty Ling. Car number 99 is driven by Jimmy Stinson. The 40 machine is Mark Emler of Chillicothe. Car number 1 is Keith Baxter. The 50X is Flamin' Jim Damon. The 41 machine driven by Randy Fink, and the 29 is Duffy Smith as we are underway with the United Express Line B main. James Fisher and Jason Dukes running 1 and 2. Tim Kern goes around in front of the field. Problem in turn 2. Cars avoiding him. Everybody under power except Jonathan Stevens with the caution coming out. Jonathan Stevens, the car that is not under power, the 4J machine. It looked like havoc, but everybody stays pointed in the right direction. Evasive action taken to avoid the 28 of Tim Kern. And the caution coming out for the 4J of Jonathan Stevens. And the 21K of Todd Kelly make up row number 4. And in row number 5, it's Brian Carlson and the Canadian Jim Carter. One more try for green flag racing in the B-main event sponsored by United Express Line. James Fisher, your early leader. Jason Dukes and Tim Allison battle for second. Here comes Rusty McClure. Car number 95, Rusty McClure. He sat in that car for the first time last night at the Wayne County Speedway, and he's brought it up to 3rd. He's got a transfer spot, as does 4th running Tim Allison. Fisher, Dukes, McClure, and Allison running 1 through 4. And we've got a spin in turn number 4. I believe that is Mark Emler. Emler, the car that is backwards facing the tower in turn number 4. Chillicothe, Ohio resident. 13 laps remaining in this event for James Fisher, the leader. at the cone on the front straightaway. James Fisher will press the go pedal, and the United Express Line B main will be underway again. Jason Dukes takes up his chase of the 48 machine. Rusty McClure in car 95 with an impressive showing. Tim Allison to the outside in the 4th spot. Those 4 cars could be the transfers. Boston Reed and Tim Kern running 5th and 6th. Reed in the 5th position is losing ground to Allison. The 4 transferred cars attempting to break away as now Tim Kern challenges Reed to the inside. Battle for 5th, the 28 of Tim Kern and the 9 of young Boston Reed. Now it's Brian Carlson of Linden, Indiana, an all-star regular in car number 18, and Tony Brockton in the 22, making a 4-car battle for the 5th position. Kern now out in 5th by himself. Carlson to 6th, Reed to 7th, Brockton to 8th, while James Fisher has nearly a half a straightaway lead now over Jason Dukes in car number 3. Then it's Rusty McClure in the 95 and Tim Allison holding the bubble spot in car number 11. Tim Kern in car number 28 is almost a full straightaway behind Tim Allison, who he needs to pass for a transfer spot as the event is halfway over. Crossed flags are shown to James Fisher in car 48. Jason Dukes a few car lengths behind him has Rusty McClure battling for the 2nd position. Fisher darting under lap traffic. The 41 of Randy Fink almost blocked the leader of James Fisher. Side by side for the lead, Jason Dukes in the 3 car takes to the outside. Fisher fights him off and weaves traffic down the back straightaway. That's Jim Damon slow in the 50 car. Damon off the pace with a mechanical failure, and side by side at the start-finish line with Dukes avoiding the lap traffic in an evasive move with car number 3. That lets James Fisher pull out to 5 or 6 car lengths of advantage now. Behind that lead battle, Rusty McClure is beginning to challenge for 2nd. That's the 95 machine. Jim Carter off the back straight in car 14. He continues under power. The green flag remains flying over the speedway while Jason Dukes now opens up a couple of car lengths over the once challenging Rusty McClure. Back to the 4th spot, Tim Allison remains the final transfer car. Two laps remaining, 13 are completed. James Fisher crosses the start-finish line in car number 48. Jason Dukes riding in 2nd, Rusty McClure in 3rd. And then quite a distance back to the 4th position car, Tim Allison, who has several car lengths and now a half straightaway or more on Tim Kern. Holding the bubble position is Allison in the 11X car. James Fisher of Hilliard, Ohio, in car number 48 picks up the victory in the United Express Line B main ahead of Jason Dukes, Rusty McClure, and the final transfer, Tim Allison in car number 11X. Again, thanks to the United Express Line folks and all of the United Specialties companies for their sponsorship of the heat races and B-main events with the All-Star Circuit of Champions sprint cars. James, come on over here. James, the sprint cars haven't been to Muskingum County Speedway for about 4 years or so, and your name, a very famous name to some of the late model fans around here, because there's a car just up the road that carries this name on it. You want to tell folks about that?
Yeah, we build the engines for Donnie Moran and a few other guys around here, and this is the first time I've ever raced here. I've hot lapped here once or twice, but it's a very nice track, very fast, and right now it's kind of slick and hard to get traction.
What kind of changes are you going to make to that car before you get ready for the A main now that you're the guy to beat, because you're the last one on the track and you're here in Victory Lane? Several times a year in All-Stars competition, the B main winner goes on to win the A. What do you have to do to the 48 machine?
Right now I think we start 8th, so hopefully we get a little more traction off the corners. Right now it's real slick and it's hard to get a bite, so I gotta work on that a little bit. Hopefully Dad can help out in that category.
Your 1999 season has been mostly out of the cockpit. What have you been doing? We haven't seen you very much in a sprint car, and what are your plans for the rest of 1999?
Hopefully a lot more sprint car racing. Eventually maybe work into some kind of stock car racing later on down the line, but right now focus on sprint cars and build engines.
Hey, you're talking to a late model crowd, remember. Your dad's got one of those cars in the garage, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not quite built yet, but I actually got his engine in the car right now, and so he's going to have to hold off for a while.
There you go, the winner of the United Express line, B-Main, James Fisher. This time past the front straightaway, they can see you wave, and they'll be waving back at you, the stars and cars of the All-Star Circuit of Champion Sprint Cars forming the 4-wide parade lap. This is their tribute to you, the race fans, before they prepare to battle for 30 laps around the Muskingum County Speedway. Wave to the drivers as they're waving back to you to cheer them on for 30 laps of green flag all-star sprint car racing in the 17th annual Ohio Sprint Speed Week. Thank you for your support of tonight's racing program, and make sure you catch more stops on the tour of the 20th anniversary season of the All-Star Sprint Cars. And outside of him, the Indiana veteran in car number 14, Randy Kinzer. Inside of row number 2, the 92 machine on the wing, the X on the tail tank. That is Mark Keegan of Fremont, Ohio, and outside of him, Ed Lynch Jr. in the 2L. Back to row number 3, the 6 car, the Mouse, Kenny Jacobs from Holmesville, Ohio, and outside of him, the 17 of fastest qualifier, Joey Saldana. Into row number 4, the 23S machine of Frankie Kerr from Fremont, and the 48 of B-Main winner, James Fisher from Hilliard, Ohio. The U2 is Joe Gertie, 88, Rocky Hodges, the 5 of Byron Reed, the 8 of Dean Jacobs, the 4K of Kelly Kinzer, 00 Jim Neer, the white 00 of Jason Statler, and the 92 of Dan E. Smith. As we approach the chalk line in turn 4, we are green flag racing for the All-Stars. 30 laps the distance, and Randy Kinzer moves around Danny Gayton for the lead on the back straight. Here comes Mark Keegan past the Wisconsin driver as well. All the cars cleanly through turns 1 and 2. And to complete lap number 1, the leader will be Randy Kinzer. Mark Keegan battles to the inside of the leader, Kinzer. Gayton back to 3rd, and Saldana up to 4th now. Kenny Jacobs into 5th position. Ed Lynch Jr. and Frankie Kerr side by side for the 6th spot, and at the line, Kinzer leads again by half a car length over Mark Keegan. Keegan, known as Racer X from Fremont. They replaced the wing on that car. The tail tank says X and the wing says 92. The Chuck Steinbrück ride, challenging Randy Kinzer for the lead. Kinzer still hangs on to it in the Steve Kinzer own number 14, while Kenny Jacobs is battling for 4th. Jacobs to the inside of Donnie Gayton. He's got the 4th position. The Mouse is on the move in car number 6. The all-time leading All-Stars winner, Kenny Jacobs, now in the 4th spot, and we watch the battle for the lead again. Keegan continues to pull almost even to the inside with Kinzer, and now Kinzer drops to the bottom to throw the block, and that gives him a several car length advantage down the back straightaway. Saldana distant in 3rd, Jacobs in 4th. Gayton holds on to the 4th spot. Ed Lynch Jr. now to the bottom of Frankie Kerr. Battle for 5th position, side by side at the start-finish line that time. Kerr with the momentum around the top. He will solidly move into 5th down the back straightaway. Kelly Kinzer coming up to 7th behind Lynch in 6th. Randy Kinzer continues to lead over Mark Keegan, Joey Saldana, Kenny Jacobs, and Donnie Gayton. And Lynch has again reeled in Kerr. Lynch and Frankie Kerr side by side for position number 5. And Kerr has now reeled in Donnie Gayton. Frankie Kerr challenges to the outside of the 27G machine, and he will take the position away. Dean Jacobs is coming on like gangbusters. He's around Lynch and challenging Gayton that quickly. Dean Jacobs 3 wide around Lynch, Kelly Kinzer, and he overtakes Gayton as well. Dean Jacobs, the man on the move, as Randy Kinzer completes another lap ahead of Mark Keegan. Randy Kinzer, your leader. Mark Keegan in 2nd. Joey Saldana, the new track record holder, in 3rd. Kenny Jacobs in 4th. Kerr in 5th, but Dean Jacobs coming on strong with Kelly Kinzer. What a battle, the 4K and the 8 machine. Kinzer using the low side to advance through the field. Dean Jacobs up high, both of them breathing down the Nerf bar of Frankie Kerr in the 23S machine, while your leader has reached lap traffic. Into turn number 3, we're watching Randy Kinzer, your leader. He has to move to the bottom for Tim Allison, the slow car up top. That allows Mark Keegan to reel into within 2 car lengths of the leader. Allison now high and out of the way for the lead pack to move through. Kelly Kinzer has now cleared Frankie Kerr by several car lengths and may be reeling in 4th place Kenny Jacobs. Almost side by side for the lead that time with Randy Kinzer and Mark Keegan. Keegan, the many-time champion at the Attica Raceway Park and the Fremont Raceway. Randy Kinzer, the Indiana veteran, aboard the Franklin Power Products 14 car. Here's the lead challenge. Mark Keegan dives to the inside in turn number 3. He may have it at the line this time. Kinzer's momentum keeps him ahead by a front wing. Randy Kinzer with a margin of almost nothing as Joey Saldana reels in Keegan. The first 4 cars are about to be under a blanket as Kelly Kinzer moves in to challenge 3rd, and the lead has changed hands. Mark Keegan, the X car, the 92 car, call it whatever you want. You have to call him the leader now as Kelly Kinzer has made the biggest charge up through the field in the 4K and takes over 2nd. He has blown past the fast qualifier Saldana as Randy Kinzer is fading quickly. Battle for the lead is now Keegan and Kelly Kinzer, the Bloomington, Indiana driver who has a couple of all-star victories already in 1999. Kelly Kinzer in the 4K has moved around to take control of this event. Halfway through, 15 laps completed and 15 remain. Kelly Kinzer, your new leader after starting deep in the field in the 4K machine. Mark Keegan riding 2nd, Joey Saldana in 3rd, then Kenny Jacobs in car number 6, and Ed Lynch Jr. and Frankie Kerr continue to have at it side by side. Early leader Randy Kinzer just behind them. Kinzer using the very bottom of the racetrack, grabbing all the moisture he can from the lowest possible group and pulling away now from 2nd place Mark Keegan, even in lap traffic. Keegan jumps up to the high side now, and Joey Saldana will soon be challenging him for 2nd as he moves around the slower car of Jared Hall in the 51. Best battle on the track continues to be Ed Lynch Jr. and Frankie Kerr. They've been going at it all through this event. Lynch, the black 2L machine, who was finishing in the 3rd position last night at Wayne County Speedway. Kerr now some distance behind him, and Lynch pulled up to briefly challenge Kenny Jacobs. Watching this battle in turn number 3. Lynch now side by side with the 6 of Kenny Jacobs. Kerr tucked in behind him. Your leader, Kelly Kinzer in car 4K. 2nd position, Mark Keegan, now half a straightaway behind with lap cars between them. Running in the 3rd position, it remains Joey Saldana. Kenny Jacobs to the bottom of Saldana's car now as they're nearly side by side. Then it's Ed Lynch Jr. and Frankie Kerr. We've got a caution flag. The 88 of Rocky Hodges has stopped in turn number 3. Byron Reed also a little bit slow just before that caution came out in the 5 car. Rocky Hodges, the Holbrook car number 88 with a flat tire, has stopped in turn 3 for the first caution of this 30-lap All-Star Circuit of Champions Sprint Car Feature event. And the next time the leaders hit the cone, the green flag will be waving over the Muskingum County Speedway. Chevrolet Vortex 6000 pace truck pulls to the infield and leaves the field in the hands of Kelly Kinzer. Kelly Kinzer, this season an all-star victor a couple of times already. And at the cone on the front straight, when he presses the hammer, the green flag comes out. Mark Keegan buried in lap traffic now. Battle we will be watching on the racetrack as they return to green flag racing is that battle between Joey Saldana, Kenny Jacobs, Frankie Kerr, and Lynch Jr. Kerr has now overtaken Kenny Jacobs in the 6 car. Frankie Kerr now clear racetrack between himself and Saldana on the high side. Jacobs tucked in behind. Kelly Kinzer, oh, so fast here tonight and pulling out to a straightaway lead over Mark Keegan already. Keegan solidly in 2nd, then Saldana, then Kerr, Kenny Jacobs, and now Dean Jacobs sliding around the top of Ed Lynch Jr. Jacobs takes that position away and tucks in behind his brother in the 6 car. Kelly Kinzer, the man on a mission, using the very bottom of the racetrack. Kelly Kinzer with a straightaway lead. The Franklin Power Products 4K machine crosses the stripe to put another lap in the books. Mark Keegan a distant second. Saldana still third. And Frankie Kerr, Kenny Jacobs, and Dean Jacobs fighting it out for 4th through 7th there. Ed Lynch Jr. and Dean Jacobs make contact in turn 2. Lynch briefly airborne. That lets Danny Smith slip through. Didn't slow Dean Jacobs down very much, but a short put a halt on Lynch's progress. Dean Jacobs continues, as does Lynch, with Danny Smith splitting the two of them now. Frankie Kerr loses a little bit of ground to Saldana in that battle for the 3rd position. Saldana splitting lap traffic in his efforts to reel in 2nd place. Mark Keegan. Mark Keegan has one lapped car and more than one straightaway of real estate between himself and leader Kelly Kinzer. Saldana a distant 3rd with clear racetrack between himself and Keegan. Then Frankie Kerr in 4th. Kenny Jacobs in 5th. Dean Jacobs now about to lose the 6th spot to Danny Smith. Smith in the Ashworth 92 dives under Dean Jacobs and takes that position away. Smith now held up behind, or inside actually, of Jared Hall in the 51, but he still rockets in to challenge Jacobs. He's got position again as those two cars nearly make contact. Danny Smith and Dean Jacobs with 2 laps to go. The leader, Kelly Kinzer, taking the white flag at the Muskingum County Speedway. Kelly Kinzer in car number 4K with a healthy advantage over Mark Keegan is about to pick up the victory as the All-Star Sprints return to the Muskingum County Speedway for the first time in more than 6 years. 70th Annual Ohio Sprint Speedweek victory to Kelly Kinzer. 2nd place will be Mark Keegan in car number 92. And Saldana holds off Frankie Kerr for the 3rd spot. Kenny Jacobs rides home in the 5th position. Then Danny Smith with a wheelie across the line ahead of Dean Jacobs in car number 8.
There he is, having a hand for Kelly Kinzer.
Racing Supply, the All-Star Circuit of Champions Spotlight sponsor. Located in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania, Franklin Racing Products produces rear end and gear components for many of the top sprint car teams. $350 certificate tonight to the feature winner from Bloomington, Indiana, Kelly Kinzer. And guys are grabbing for that traction up top that isn't there. You always find it on the bottom.
Well, my car's just a little different torsion arms back and rest of these guys, and if they want to keep running them like that, let them go, and I'll take the bottom any day.
Now, you started a little bit further back in the field than a couple of the guys that you had to get through for the lead. When you start that far back, are you concerned about the lap traffic being down in the groove that you need to get by those leaders? And if the lap cars approach, how does your car work in the middle when you need to go up there?
Well, definitely, you've got to have the car right to work traffic, you know, and if somebody's pretty close to you, sometimes starting the back, you just can't get around them. But tonight, I guess I was just a touch better than everybody else, and traffic just fell on my way, and we made it, is all I know.
Now, in addition to the local Indiana racing that you do, it seems like this year you're following the All-Star Tour a little bit more carefully. How many more events on the All-Star Tour are you planning to get to this week and for the rest of 1999?
I really don't know. I'd say probably pretty much all of them. You know, I'll probably go with them when they go out to the Plain States and whatever's around the Midwest here, pretty much. So, yeah, quite a few more to run.
Thank the fans on this one. He's here once again at a late model racetrack with the sprint car in Victory Lane. Let him know how you enjoyed that show, folks. Kelly Kinzer from Bloomington, Indiana.
Thank you. All that's with me possible, you guys. I'm glad you all come out tonight. See you tomorrow.